Hello again, Ian Stuckey with Mastermind Games, back with more Malifaux, this time Ryle. Rosy Skin 09068. So, Ryle Hoffman is Charles Hoffman's elder brother, a man that he looked up to for his entire life, and when Ryle gained a contract, or I can't remember who might have been the guild in Malifaux, he took Charles with him, and when they passed through the breach, Charles got amazing powers, and Ryle nearly died. Victor Ramos, the Arcanists, retrieved the brothers and managed to sort of put Ryle back together again after a fashion, at least keeping him alive. Or at least that was what was thought at the time. He is part of the Dead Man's Hand Pack now, but as time went on, Charles realized Ryle had actually died at some point along the way, and has since buried his brother. But in-game, and I do have the stats on this one, he's pretty much just a wrecking ball. This big gun is not just for show. It's also a watershed moment for Charles because he realized that he was all alone now. He had put so much effort into reviving his brother, bringing his brother's mind back, that, well, that was his driving force for a long time. Alright. And now, Dark Elf Skin 09164. The pants. And while I am okay with the killing off of characters for the sake of advancing the story, in terms of the miniatures game, I disapprove strongly of barring the, quote, dead characters from the organized play events, unless specifically allowed. Because to a certain extent, the game should not be limited by the fiction. After all, War Machine has killed characters off, but those characters are still valid. And even though some characters in that game have multiple versions, you can use any one you please. Now, I'm gonna let that try before moving on. It's a good start so far. Alright, well, my oiled leather bought it, so fur brown. This is a war paint that looks pretty close to it. And it looks reasonably close. That's one of the problems when you're switching brands. It's a guessing game. Okay. Into the boot. This might have too much water in it, or I didn't mix it thoroughly enough. One of the two. Okay. Now, let's see here. Okay. plate mail metal. And the leg brace too. Alright. Now regarding what happened to Ryle when he came to Malifaux. While for many people nothing happens, some gain incredible power, which is why the guild watches the whole, keeps a close watch of the train yards for anyone that does develop special abilities right off the bat. But some people just plain pop. As soon as they cross the border from... Whoa! Okay, that was weird. As soon as they cross the border from Earth's reality into Malifaux's, the power overwhelms them, and they usually end up dying pretty horrible deaths in the process. There's even a nickname for it, popping. And this gas mask. I might pick out certain elements of it in another color later. Let's see here. I think that's good for the time being. So let that dry, move on a little bit. So look at that focus issue. Okay. Second to last base coat, Old Bronze 09197. Took me a bit to figure out how I was going to do certain details, but I got it figured out now. Sometimes your painting process is going to happen as you go along, or you're not sure what you're going to do when you start, not completely anyway, or you change your mind partway through. It's nothing to worry about. And this has got to be one of the strangest augmentations on this or any model. They obviously replaced at least part of the lower leg, but kept the foot. Typically the entire limb would be replaced in a situation like this, but well, it is kind of an oddity, but not the strangest I've seen in this line. And then the spine is exposed and looks metallic, so do that in the bronze as well. This, and then you'll notice here I'm using the fingers on my offhand to brace my main hand. Yeah, allergy season's trying to make one last comeback before the autumn hits. The bullets in the magazine. And then I'm going to do this little hose going into his arm. I'm going to pick out the barrels of his Gatling gun. Yeah, early on in the fiction after Ryle and Hoffman appeared, his brother was the only one who could control him for a while, rather. Okay. Was the only one that he would listen to. Uniform Gray. Up until Lucius Matheson wanted to borrow Ryle for a special project, and Ryle obeyed him. Of course, Lucius Matheson was the former Governor General's secretary, who was manipulating him for his own ends, even as he himself was manipulated, and Matheson's a never-born mimic who was either enslaved, who was possibly enslaved by the former Governor General. I cannot speak today. Kind of an interesting side note. Okay. That's the waistcoats. Excuse me. It's as dry as I can start shading. Alright. Time to shade. Ruddy Leather 09109. Thinning this out into a wash with 1 part water per 1 part paint. Carefully going over the base coats. And then, let's see here. Okay. Blackened Steel 09205. Start with the trickiest part first. Trying not to get that into the channel where the bullets are. Okay. So bronze pants and skin tone. Plus lighting effects and base. Okay. Getting there. Alright. Well, not quite dry, but dry enough to move on. There's Dark Elf Shadow 09163. One of these days I'm going to figure out how to fix this focus issue. I've been painting miniatures for over 20 years, but I've only been doing these videos for about 2. So I still have a lot to learn on this aspect of it. Being real careful around this leg brace. You know, I'm hoping I can do the bronze as well in this take, but that may not be practical. Right now I'm just going to worry about getting his pants shaded and Go from there. Okay, that got on the boot. And I'm just gonna play it safe and call that good for the time being, so back in a bit. Alright, next, aged Pewter 09196. Thin that out a bit more, so magazine, little hose. Barrels the Gatling gun. That shoulder socket going along the spine. Go ahead and start picking out these barbs on his head, which are pretty sure nails or something. The left arm, forearm there. Then I can start a lighting effect with matte white. Yep, got the spine, so just filling in the lens very carefully. And once that dries, I can do the next one. Okay. Second to last shade. Bloodless Skin 09150. Giving him a off and disturbing skin tone. Because quite frankly, saying he's been through hell would probably be putting it mildly. That's kind of going a little too thick, so I'm going to pull a little more water in my brush and thin it out some more. Similarly to what I've done with Misty, and that happened. Similarly to what I've done with the Neverborn. Something that doesn't look quite standard issue undead, but something that doesn't look normal either. Thin that out a little more over the chest because I want some of the base coat to be showing through. Being careful around the spine and that divot in the shoulder where that machinery is. Okay, and then the foot. One more right there. And then Blood Red 09003. Get a lighting effect in the eyes going. With a lighting effect, you'll want 2 to 3 times the normal amount of water per paint. Okay. And once that dries down here, I can do the base. Excuse me. Well, dry enough to work with, but not completely dry, so Stormy Gray 09088. So, the flesh tone does have a nice deathly pallor to it. And the eyes look nice and creepy too. Just get this filled in. And once this is all dry, I can start highlighting detail and wrap up. Alright, time to wrap up. Now, Rosy Higlight 09069. Using a dry brushing technique. So, I'm going to get the cat back on there for this. You need a ragged feather brush, kind of like this one. This will happen to all your brushes over time as they wear out, so rub most of the paint out on a paper towel just like I've done. No water. Don't thin out the paint on this. Then lightly dust the area to be affected. You want to go against any sharp angles to help catch the paint. Refresh as needed. That's a nice unhealthy pallor. Tarnished, Tarnished Brass 09198. Now you want to refresh your brushes fairly often, or rather, to state a little more clearly, your brush needs to be completely dry, so just bear that in mind. Autumn is definitely coming in now where I'm at, and it sounds like a thunderstorm's on its way. I've never really had a problem with power outages where I live, except for one winter when a construction site across the street left things uncovered and knocked everything out. So I'm not too worried about a power loss. Dark Elf Highlight 09165. I think this brush might have just broken. Where is it? True Silver 09207. Or no, not yet on that. First Burned Orange 09111. You generally want to go from the lowest portion. Okay, this is plugged up, so paper clip down the nozzle will fix that. So on our highlights, you want to go from the lowest part of the model, generally the skin, up to the highest. Gives you a chance to fix any mistakes without backtracking. I was taking a look, and so far so good. Only dropped 6 frames. Again, my space limitations here at home mean that my monitor has to be behind me, so I can't really see what's going on too easily. And unfortunately, that's one thing I can't fix very readily because of space limitations. So now True Silver 09207. Oh boy, causing a little avalanche over off camera. Just shining up the steel on the leg brace. I'm trying not to hit the bronze portions of this. I think got another color mix in there somehow. But it's got a funny patina on it. But you know what? Things like that can give a model character. Sometimes the things you don't intend end up being the most interesting things you can do. Alright. That's all the highlighting on the model itself. A little bit of Misty Gray 09090. And just need a decent brush for this. A bit too much. Gotta thin that out a bit. Okay. Final step. Well, final step I can do on camera. Matte black. Polishing up a couple of details. So, doing this with about the same amount of water as a base coat. I'm just going to fill in the barrel of the gun here. Just tap that on. And switching to a flathead brush. Just going to line the base. Trying not to hit the custom sculpted basing I've done here. If you're going to use flock or sand, you'll do this before applying that material. Since these Malifaux models don't have any tabs or holes in the feet for stability, gluing them directly to something is very practical. And well, this is what I prefer to do, is this hand sculpting thing. I know Weird makes base inserts specifically for Malifaux. It's whatever you want to do. It just cleans it up. And that's it. Ryle. Alright. Clean out my brush. I may or may not take a break to paint a few more models I'm not doing videos for, but I will be continuing more Malifaux when I start up. So until next time, I am Ian Stokey with Mastermind Games, signing out.